In the spirit of June 12th, therefore, we need to embrace an electoral system that commands the trust of the people. This is in recognition of the tenets and core values of democracy, which rest on respect for the wishes of the people as expressed in their ballots. This is the submission of P2B regarding the observation of the Democratic Day in honor of the late MKO Abiola, whose, of course, presidential aspiration was cut short owing to the interruption and the annulment of the June 12th presidential election by the then military junta Babangida Badamasi, which is an unfortunate one. Of course, MKO Abiola was a popular candidate that won the acceptance and, of course, the will of the people to ride under the leadership of the presidents. But such a prospect was interrupted after he was arrested and detained and subsequently died under detention. And this is the reaction and response of many Nigerians regarding that ordeal or dilemma, which unfortunately has remained, of course, a cog in the wheel of the Nigerian democratic process. 30 years down the line, people has not, of course, fall in love with the democratic process within Nigeria to the end. To this end, of course, Peter Obi made his submission, especially in this last 2023 election, where we have the most disturbing experience in the election that was mad and highly, of course, manipulated by the electoral umpire and other state actors with different interests. Of course, which majority of the Nigerian populace do not accept the outcome of such uh, exercise, which even INEC violated grossly its own guidelines and principles or provisions of the Electoral Act, which is very unfortunate. Well, let's hear from people, Nigerians, common men, who, of course, reacted to this particular incident. It will interest you as you keep in touch. Please don't forget to hit the subscription button, like the videos, and give us the thumbs up as you continue to watch as we unfold the realities of our time. 30 years down the line, here comes Ahmed Bola Tinubu, presiding subject to the outcome of the litigation of the presidential election petition tribunal, is the president of Nigeria. So what do you think? I've been a good student of MKO Abiola.
Thank you for having me. I think if you are looking at democracy in Nigeria vis-a-vis the June 12 and the time of 30 years down the line, I think I will tell you that Nigeria democracy is a democracy that is evolving. It's not yet Uhuru. We are not there yet. All the tenets of democracy has been witnessed in civilized world. It's not yet being practiced here. So I think we need to grow. Because if you look at the last election, it's nothing close to anything called democracy. That's a situation where you will tell a supposed leader will tell the people, I want to contest election, I want to lead you in elsewhere capacity, and people will say, I don't need you. To impose itself and say, I must lead you. So for me, there are some areas we can say we are growing, but holistically, I will tell you that we are not there yet. But in the area of political killing has been witnessed in Nigerian democracy from 1999. I can tell you that have abated. We seldom witness, we rarely witness or hear about political induced killing. So I think in that area we are growing. But in the area of conforming our democracy to the global best practice, I think we are not there yet.
What could be your rating in that regard?
If I are to rate Nigeria democracy in terms of conformity with the electoral, even our own electoral act,
Yeah, in percentage.
I will rate Nigeria 35%.
35%, which is far
Inflation
below, of course,
far below average.
average.
Yes, because 50% would have been average.
That is
So
total
I
fairness.
will rate that because if you look at the last election, you agree with me that even the upper itself was a bunch of disgrace and disappointment. A situation where you set out rules, you set out principle, and you renege on it, you breach on it, you breach it. So for me, we are still crawling. We are not yet practicing democracy. And again, I think we need to strengthen our institutions as a way to make them purely independent, to be able to address the issue or the excesses of politicians. Because all the challenges we see in our electoral process, in our democracy, is being orchestrated by politicians. And the institutions of government like the police, the DSS, the army, that have the mandate to curtail all these excesses, do not have that moral standard to start questioning the authority of politicians, a situation where they know that the president can hire and fire them. So we need to strengthen the laws that guarantee their state office, so that while they discharge their duties, they will not be fear of one man sitting somewhere having the power to hire and fire.
Uh, 30, looking back 30 years ago, MKO Abiola enjoyed the popularity and support of the Nigerian populace despite the Muslim ticket, which unfortunately his proponent being students being Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu never enjoyed, though INEC declared him winner, which is a subject of litigation, of course, to validate such a claim by INEC. Why is it so that despite MKO enjoyed that and there was no rancor, it was overwhelmingly accepted by the people back 30 years, but now it becomes a subject of controversy, Muslim ticket, and considering the antecedents and the personality of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, why is the disparity very wide?
I think it's clear. In the 1993 election, Nigerians across board were yearning for return to democracy, because Nigerians haven't suffered in the hands of the military junta, from one military junta to the other, needed a change of governance, needed democracy. So when the Muslim ticket of Abiola and KGB presented itself, Nigerians were not mindful of whether it's a fate or not. They needed a better alternative, and any other alternative that present itself other than military was a better alternative as far as Nigerians were concerned. So it's a different scenario when you are already in democracy and you are already enjoying the dividends of democracy, only for suddenly a political party, the ruling party for that matter, will come up with the same arrangements. And you know that in Nigeria is a statement of fact that you have two major dominant religions. You are talking about Christianity and Islam. So, and couple the fact that you have federal character entrenched in our constitution, and the federal character is unambiguous about what it seeks to address. It forbids a situation where a particular religion, tribe, call it any nomenclature, dominate governance. And if you have a president who is a Muslim, a vice president who is a Muslim, whether I would like it or not, is a way of trying to dominate governance. So I think that the major reason you see Nigerians come out in their number to resist the Muslim ticket, because it's not healthy for our democracy. Nigeria being a secular state.
And vehemently Nigeria resisted it, but it was forced on Nigerians based on my observations and findings, and Nigerians weren't happy and was shocked either from the outcome pronounced by INEC Mahmoud Yakubu. What could be the way forward with this overwhelming rejection of this current dispensation? Do you think that will have a very negative impact on this administration and what it represents?
To start with, this government is a non-popular government. If you look at the result of the election, because you have three major political parties, the PDP, the Labour Party, and the APC, And even if you say, going by the result declared by INEC that APC won, even at that, he's parading a minority. He won with minority votes. But I think what the opposition parties need to do is to come together. If they must wrestle power from this current government, because if you still go into the next round of election, I'm talking about 2027 with APC, PDP, and Labour Party, I can tell you that APC will equally win. And they will win not majorly because they had the popularity. Because even if, when you deploy some undemocratic process to influence the system, if the areas you had the potential to influence is not substantial enough to give you victory, you are likely not going to make any headway. But if you have a situation where the Labour Party and the PDP are talking about Obi and Atiku coming together in 2027, even if as the ruling party APC wants to circumvent the rule or try to manipulate the system, they may not have what it takes to holistically manipulate the system to swing victory in their favor. So the only way you can take away the government or dislodge this government is for PDP and Labour Party to come together, particularly Obi and Atiku to come together on a joint ticket.
What lesson can we learn from this democratic day? If truly people were not given the right and opportunity, the liberty to choose who becomes their leader or president. So, what is the essence of democracy? Are we really practicing democracy, or is it any other thing outside democracy that is being practiced in Nigeria? Because without the people influencing who becomes their president, it is useless. What can you say?
To be quite honest with you, what we are currently in Nigeria can be likened to democracy of the politicians, for the politicians and by the politicians. Because you have a situation where they will they will not allow people to exercise their franchise, and at the end of the day you see vote being counted and a winner will emerge, particularly in Rivers State, where even currently Premium Times newspaper, BBC News media organization went and counted the result in INEC portal, and it indicates that Labour Party won in the presidential election, contrary to the result declared by INEC. So that's why I tell you that it's a government of politicians, for the politicians and by the politicians. So for me, like I just said earlier on, the only way you can see a change of events is by opposition coming together with their numerical strength and their spread to challenge the ruling party in 2027 election. Talking about the case in court, personally I don't have confidence in the Nigerian judicial system, so there's little I can speak about that, because even if you have a good case in Nigerian judiciary, it's difficult for the judges to look at the president in the face and say the election that brought you in was rigged and you are no longer the president. I don't have confidence in that process.
Okay, you don't have confidence in the judicial process,
Yes, of course.
and notwithstanding that P2B have made emphatic substantial submission of evidence to reclaim his purported stolen mandate. Over 20 states has been submitted, the results of 20 states, to further buttress his claims. And yet, if with all this plethora of evidence before the court and before the public domain, which of course attests to the fact there was irregularities and malpractice during this election, and yet the judiciary could not win the confidence of the people. Then what signal is this portraying? What is it showing? And what could be the future of the judiciary in Nigeria?
One thing is clear: you have a way of demoralizing Nigerians' electorates, because in the next round of election or any other subsequent election, we're going to have a situation where you're going to see unprecedented level of voter apathy. Nigerians will be highly refuse to participate in the process. Don't forget that a major reason Nigerians got hope that vote will count was a new electoral act that permits INEC to transmit election results electronically. But unfortunately, INEC squandered that opportunity to engender free, fair, and credible election. The way it stands, Nigerians feel disappointed in the process, and it's yet to be seen the strategy the authorities, the government will deploy to rekindle the confidence of Nigerians.
Can the damage done by INEC be recouped in the next 20 decades? Because what we are seeing, the Mahmoud Yakubu is not even having any, of course, remorse. And did you think him apologizing to Nigerians could make any difference, having denied and robbed them the supposed electoral right to choose who becomes their president?
It's one thing to admit that you are wrong, it's another thing to go for apology. The way it stands, I don't think Mahmoud have admitted that he's wrong in any way, let alone talking about apology. But it's up to Nigerians to decide what to do. But the perception out there already showed that the election was rigged, and you can see the evidence here and there. So for me, Mahmoud is not likely going to come out to concede to Nigerians that he actually breached the process, because he knows the implication. He have far-reaching implication and a way of influencing the outcome of the case in the electoral tribunal. But I don't think, generally speaking, I don't see him coming out to say he breached the process.
Peradventure P2B did not secure the desired justice at the Supreme Court. Could he exploit other further legal process, maybe going to the World Court? Is there any provision that covers for that?
There is no the word court, or what do you call the International Criminal Court of Justice, have no jurisdiction over Nigerian electoral process. So it should not be entertained, and it's quite unfortunate if he's not getting justice. Perhaps he have to take the case to God and appeal before God in the court law of God.
Yes, today is Democratic Day in honor of the late sage or astute politician MKO Abiola, who, of course, enjoyed the popularity of the Nigerian masses and was overwhelmingly voted in the last 1993 election, that is barely 30 years ago. And today we are, of course, observing his holiday in commemoration of such ugly experience of June 12th. Now, how do you compare Abiola's experience to that of Asiwaju Ahmed Bola?
Yeah, I think the actors, let me just start from the actors of what brought us back like 20 years back now, or 30 years back. The Babangidas, the, what's it called, the Abachas, the Irish Ecolas, the Ato Izeribate. You know, we knew the roles in which they play to disrupt the elections of Abiola then, which was June 12 election, 1993 or 92, Hope 93, Hope 93, which Nigeria really came together, that enough of military rules, that we even happy to usher ourselves into democratic rule space. And some few Nigerians, some few Southerners, not even the Northerners, some few Southerners sold themselves up to the Northerners, to the people in power then, to truncate that democratic system then. And I think the heaven will reject those guys. Anywhere they are, the heaven will surely reject them, because they brought us back 30 years backward. That is why we are still where we are today. And I can't say Abiola himself was a saint then. I can't say he was a saint, but it was being loved because of his generosity, because of he helped the humanity then. And well, if you want to dip it down, really, it's been friend to the military then, but we never look at that. We look at the humanity, the help to the humanity he named, that he helped a lot of people. He changed a lot of people's life, and that is what good governance needs. Inspire people, impact on people. So I can only give it to him that. But what these people do, I think they should be held responsible for it, and that is why they are hiding their face. They are hiding up their face in shame now, right?
Yes. What do we have to learn, seeing the generosity of MKO Abiola won the admiration of the people? despite the Muslim ticket, and the same as Siwaji Ahmad Bola Tinubu could not enjoy the same generosity of acceptance across the nations, across the Nigerian geopolitical zones.
I think I have to a bit disagree with you that it did not command the generosity. I mean, the general, I mean, acceptance of the people. And as I'm telling you now, majority of governors, you could see even a governor that won election under the Labour Party, OT, an erudite banker, right? He went personally to greet Tinubu that I will work with you. I will work with you. The governors, that's the Pastor Oliche is the pastors that won election in Akwa Ibom, has gone to Tinubu that we work with you. And look at what happened just of recent. Tinubu assembled all the Senate elects and he detached himself from the party's affairs this time around because he believes that it's a Nigerian project that we want to embark on building.
I think that move was informed based on his personal interests. He wanted to push his anointed candidate, not in the intent of unifying the Nigerian populace, but he wanted to protect his interests. But that notwithstanding, you can see MKO Abola has over 90% of the vote cast in 1993. But referring to this current administration, which only has the lowest acceptable percentage, 36%, and more than 63% of Nigerians rejected him. So that is the area I want you to comment. What is that thing that, of course, made the difference between MKO and the current president?
As of that time, there was total unity among the citizens. There wasn't much diversity among us as of that time. We believe in one Nigeria, and everybody was tired. People were tired of the military rule then, and they cannot even wait to usher themselves into democratic space. So you can't compare the terrain of that time with the terrain we had now. As of now, we are so diversified. We put a lot of ethnic issue into our politics. As of that time, there was not much ethnicity in politics. There was not much bigotry in politics. So as of now, the terrain now is different from what we witnessed that time, because I can tell you, I was a participant during that election then too. I was old enough. I think I was around 18 or so.
Don't you think people accepted the person of MKO based on his sincerity and generosity, and which is perhaps wanting within this political space and the political elite of this time?
I have to disagree a bit with you on that, because when you say people accepted, Abiola more than what
the evidence is there to attest to itself.
The people
Tinubu had 36 points, which is not arguable, which is not a subject of controversy. MKO has more than 90. Even my mother has voted for him that time.
What I'm telling you, I don't know whether you witnessed Abacha regime or you witnessed Babangida regime. There was serial killing. There was a lot of serial killing then. There was a lot of serial killing, and people were tired of military rules then. We couldn't just wait for the advent of democracy to come then. So if you want to try the best government you can have, try military government and try democratic government. So you'll be able to know what I'm saying. Because as of that time, people were tired. The killings everywhere, silent killings everywhere. The military were being killed, the civilians were being killed. You could remember the issues of delegate you should remember the issue of this Baba Afel Riwani. You should remember the killings there. A lot of killings were happened there. So people were tired that we want a democratic government, and there tends to have been a sanction on Nigeria there that Nigeria should transit to democratic government, because the military junta was fading out as of that time.
Sorry, has the democratic regime or dispensation paid off Nigerians? Because under this current democratic, ever since the return of democracy in Nigeria, people has been dying. The killings has become arbitral. I mean, in exponential, look at the last 8 years, the number of casualties
within the Nigerian populace is alarming and unbearable. Nigeria is certified more than 133 million to be multidimensionally poor, which we never experienced during the military era. So, how do you justify the democracy we practice here?
You go say, you and I, we have to be blamed. It's not just criticizing us. We have to be blamed. All these guys you are saying, how old were they then when they were controlling the affairs of this country? How old were they? We youths, I think I not regretting anything by saying this, that this generation is a wasted generation. You and I generation is a wasted generation. We are just there to be lamenting. I'm 50 now, plus or minus, I'm 50 now, going 50 plus now. What happened to me to not have even come into the democratic space and stamp my feet on electoral position? And as it is, we were just docile, talking on the street that go. Heaven help those who help themselves.
No, can you afford the tickets, the amount paid to purchase the ticket of a governorship, let alone presidential? Can you afford 100 million in the last APC presidential primaries?
They say the kingdom of God, the kingdom of what's it called, suffering violence, right? As it is, I'm telling you, to do a step, you have to take a step. Have you ever even taken that step? Even it's not about the fee they are even attaching to it. We I didn't be we stand upright to ourselves, say this thing cannot stand because we are not the party of looters. You guys, your time is up because you guys, you enjoyed everything in this country. Majority of them went to free school, free education. Majority of them were building their houses in their 30s, in their 20s. But it's that same things that, what I'm saying is we need to just bring up youth revolution, that at this so age we need to take control of the affairs of this country.
Sorry, how can we take control when we are divided among the youth? You have been a proponent and a strong supporter of Ahmed Bola Tinubu, which of course I may have a different view or perspective in that regard. Then how can we, of course, come together and form a formidable force that will dislodge these people when already we are divided among us based on ethnic and personal interests?
Look at all the old candidates. Obi, let's talk of the three major ones: Obi, Tinubu, and Atiku. You can't tell me none of them can deny that he enjoyed parts of the goodies of this country. Obi was a governor. He stays in government house. You can't tell me he did not make money under his government through PPP projects, right? Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State. You can't tell me he did not make money when he was in government as a governor. Atiku, you can't tell me Atiku did not make money when he was vice president. That one was even glaring. So now, when you are talking Obi, I look at what's the difference. Nevertheless, one is more transparent than other. Obi at what age?
So one is more transparent. Can you expand it and be very straightforward?
One seems to be transparent because
who is the one that you consider more transparent?
Who is the one? I think I can consider because Obi came up that this is what I left in the coffers of Nigeria, and one is more productive too among them, which is Tinubu. Why I said so? It brought a lot of youths. How old was Fashola when he became governor of Lagos State? Ambody, how old was it? In his 40s, right? And what I'm saying now is a lot of them don't need to even. We shouldn't have allowed them to occupy that space they had now. We are all Nigerians, for God's sake. Or are you outcast Nigeria? You are not an outcast Nigeria. You are a full-blown Nigeria as they are. But youth, as we are divided, I don't know how we can just get our bearings together and fight one single battle along. You could talk of answers, accepted. But my brother, you're a responsible person. You will not look at that answers and look at that it was responsible youth that occupied that.
Have you felt better in the last 30 years of your life? being in Nigeria.
That's what I'm
What
saying.
have you benefited as a Nigerian in the last 3 decades?
That's what I'm
It has
saying.
been a long time. By then you were around 20 or less. Now you are 50 plus.
I'm 50 plus.
What is the totally you can tell?
That's what I've been
The
telling.
nightmares and
That's
the
what I've been telling you, right? A common goal that we youth need to advocate for is restructuring. You know, and we keep saying that on the other, what's it called, other platform that we've been, the other platform we've been, that's been engaging on. We keep saying that once the constitution of the country is default or is deformed, the country itself will be deformed and default, because you can't plant nothing, you can't plant something on nothing. The constitution is what allowed these people to be misbehaving. It's constitution that allowed these people to be maneuvering us, that they said youth are not ready to rule. And they were ready when they were in age, when they were in our age. You know, they were ready to occupy some position. I can tell you, Pat told me that, you know, that was part of the Labour key men, was special assistant to Shagari in his 20s, in his 20, 28, 29 years. How many of us, you go to, okay, you attend, you go to school, you graduate from school, then when you now graduate, you ended up becoming a supporters on each platform, be Tinubu or this thing.
sorry, can Tinubu, of course, restructure Nigeria? You know, there can be true federalism if there is no control of regional resources. The North claim to be the largest in population but are less productive. So how do you expect Tinubu to, of course, to correct this anomaly by restructuring?
Thank you very much. Chigozie, I want you to start from the, you know, Tinubu don't know me and I don't know him. And I wish I could meet him one-on-one. I will tell him the truth of my heart, the truth of my heart. But all these ones I'll be saying here, maybe he can listen or he doesn't listen. Tinubu as he is now, he has to practice what he preach. And the number one step he took was that subsidy removal. If you know what is going on under that subsidy, the cabals that in, the generals that under that subsidy issues, oil thefts, man, you know it takes a bold person to act. And number two thing I want him to do now is to bring all those guys, invite them. I think there's always a head of council meeting that they always, the past president, Abi, they always arrange that one. Bring all of them and sit them down. Mr. Obasanjo, please, your turnaround maintenance, how much do you spend? Please, what is the change that is left? And who are the people that are in charge of that? Mr. Jonathan, your turnaround, how come nothing turns around? Come and explain. And who are the people you gave those contracts to? Nigerians are suffering. Let them recoup those money back. Face Obasanjo face to face. Face Atiku, what's it called? Jonathan face to face. Face who else? Buhari, one-on-one, face to face. That is when me I will believe is ready for good governance. Nigerians are suffering. One man or like 5 people or 10 people cannot just be controlling our destiny, eating what belongs to all of us. So that is my own stake. And people don't know me. People just think I come here and rant. What I will face Mr. Tinubu, if I see him now, I will raise my voice loud. Say, Mr. Tinubu, the president-elect, please, all those people that have been turning our life around.
Sorry, he's no longer the president-elect, or are you still perceiving him as the president-elect?
The sitting president. Sorry, it's the sitting president. I will tell him, Hoha, Mr. President, please, those people that has been looting our common fund, common wealth, please, we need them to answer. They need some questions to answer. They need some answer from us. We need some answer from them. How have they been using all this money? We have, what's it called, 4 refineries. The 4 refineries are not working, and how much this thing is just so disgusting that it's people can start crying on. 4 refineries are not working, and you pick some thieves, some criminals that they should come and start turning around refinery that never turn around, and they are wasting billions.
And they are paying the director, the managers earn 5 million.
As of now, they've wasted $20 billion on I mean, with that 20 billion, oh wow, wow, wow.
Close to 30
I
something
think
billion dollars.
I think the way I see things, when we see those guys, we need to be stoning them. I'm serious. They're our past leaders. We need to be stoning them.
Thank you very
We
much.
need to be stoning
It's been
them.
a wonderful time.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very
I
much.
appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, keep watching, of course, as we continue to bring your way the ripples of events as they continue to unfold here, and people's opinions and reactions regarding the happenings within the Nigerian political, social, and economic space. Continue to watch. But don't forget to hit the subscription button. Turn, give us the thumbs up and continue to turn on the notification button as we continue to keep you intimated with the unbiased reportage of events here in Call Wave TV.